What is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline. As always, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. We're currently sitting at about 205 subscribers, and we currently have a goal of 250 subscribers. Once we reach that 250 subscriber goal, we will be giving away an Arkham series Harley Quinn hot toy on the channel. So if you want a chance to win and you want to stay up to date with all of our current content, please consider subscribing to the channel and possibly dropping a like on this video if you enjoyed what you saw here today. But guys, I got another episode of Copper Flop for you today. Today we're going to be talking about the Grand Inquisitor by Hot Toys, so let's just jump right into it. I know I'm a little behind on this one. We saw this announcement go up last week, but hey, I had a busy end of my week and my computer started acting up. But everything has fallen in place now. I got my computer sorted out and I got a little bit extra time. So let's talk about the Grand Inquisitor. Now guys, right off the bat, I will say I'm really digging the price. Now I say I'm digging the price comparing it to what we've been getting recently with pricing. $260 is still high compared to what we're used to in the years past, but I will say for what this figure comes with and the features that he has, I think $260 is a very fair price point. But guys, let's take a look at the photos and let's see what you get for your $260 for this guy. So right off the bat, I'm really digging this head sculpt. I'll be honest with you. I know a lot of people are making comments on Facebook and other groups about, hey, we wanted the skinnier head, closer to the Star Wars Rebels look for the Grand Inquisitor. But guys, you have to understand, this is accurate to the Kenobi show, which is what this figure is from. And I think they absolutely nailed it based on what the character looks like in the show. I'm very pleased with the look. And we know that Hot Toys usually does pretty well with human sculpts, but not always. But when it comes to non-human sculpts, I think they basically always knock it out of the park. Really cool shot of him holding his double-sided spinning lightsaber, because as you guys know, the Grand Inquisitor lightsabers are like no other. They spin. Even in Star Wars Rebels, they're flying with them like helicopter blades. So this is super cool. I'm glad to finally get an Inquisitor figure in my collection. Here we have a shot of it in a little bit more natural lighting. You can kind of see closer to what this armor would look like in person without all the Photoshop. And I'm really digging it. I think it looks good. I like the finish. I think it's accurate to the show, or as close as it can be. And we have a side shot of the head sculpt. And oftentimes when you look at head sculpts and you want to determine what's good and what isn't, you want to see it at multiple angles. And I think with this one, seeing it from the front and from the side, I have zero complaints. Again, I think they absolutely knocked this head sculpt out of the park. I think they did a great job. And guys, already we are seeing a tease for Reva. I did say this on past streams. I said once we saw the Grand Inquisitor fully teased from the front, no blurring effect or anything like that, I'm like, we're definitely getting the Grand Inquisitor. And I also said if we got the Grand Inquisitor, we're also going to get Reva. Well, guys, here it is. Not like that was a tough prediction to make, but I had faith in it, and I'm glad that my guess came to fruition. The good thing is I bought 2 Darth Vaders, one to have in the battle damage look to go against Kenobi, and another one with the clean look to be with these two, so I'm glad my display is going to work out. Thank you, Hot Toys. We appreciate that. I know Reva is not going to be the most exciting figure for a lot of people, but I will say, if we zoom in here just a little bit, I think they absolutely nailed the likeness on her. I know that's kind of making a bold statement considering it's a little bit blurred and it's from the side, but guys, what I'm seeing here is pretty incredible. Me personally, I will be grabbing Reva again to go with my display with Vader and the Grand Inquisitor. I know a lot of people weren't a fan of the character in the show, but you can at least appreciate when Hot Toys does a good job on a figure and the head sculpt is accurate and looks good. And I think that's the case here. I think they did a really good job. Of course, we have that beautiful Vader figure standing among them, and the Grand Inquisitor, which we're talking about mostly today. He looks really good, guys. I love everything about him. Of course, we love that cloth undersuit. The less pleather, the better. I think they did a really good job. Though I will say, and we may be able to see it in some photos later here, I'm not positive, in the secret base photo that they took of the Grand Inquisitor once they put him in the display, his pants did look a little bit baggy, but I feel like they have opportunity to change that because this is way far out, guys. We'll take a look at that release date towards the end, but here's another shot of him kind of looking down. I love how the red of the lightsaber is reflecting off of his face. Guys, I'm happy to report he does come with a USB lightsaber, and also that portion on his chest is USB lit as well. So love to see more USB powered options from Hot Toys. I was a little worried because they weren't too consistent when they first started introducing that recently, but it seems like now they're being more consistent with the new releases, and I'm very happy to see that. In terms of posability, if I had to guess, I would say this figure is probably very posable, just due to the nature of his armor and the fact that he has a fully cloth undersuit. And also, based on how thick the torso looks, I don't see a lot of fat suit material in there personally. Of course, that's something we'll have to wait and see when it's in hand. But just based on what I'm seeing in the photos, it actually looks pretty good and very posable in my opinion. Great shot here with him with the saber. I love this outreached hand. That's a good action pose for him. Me personally, I will probably pose mine with the saber out front like this. Usually with dual sabers, I think that's a really good look. And we often see the Inquisitors fighting in this stance. So definitely going to go this route. Maybe I'll have him facing off against Reva. Who knows? Vader will just be watching them while they face off. I know that's not exactly what happened in the show, but I think that's a fight that I would like to see more from. Maybe if we get a Kenobi Season 2, we'll see a better face-off between Reva and the Grand Inquisitor as she eases more towards the light, I should say. But really, really cool figure, guys. Also, great detail. You see this like ribbing detail in the upper portion of the body armor, and some awesome detail along the gauntlets here as well. I believe this section here is UV reactive. They call it luminous. Typically, that's what Hot Toys uses as wording. But it's just UV reactive. So if you have a black light, that will react to the black light and appear that it's lighting up. I'm not surprised that they didn't give us an LED light up feature for that, because this is only a $260 figure. And if they're trying to make these figures more accessible around the world, accessible meaning available to people in Australia, for example, it makes sense that they would leave that out, because that would probably have to be battery powered typically. So giving it a luminous effect, I think, is cool enough for most of us, in my opinion. So as you can see here, the pants are a bit baggy, but I think it was a little bit worse in the secret base photos. Here it's not too bad, but I will say you can probably tuck it in the boots a little bit more and make it work. That's definitely a nitpick. That's just something I wanted to point out that I noticed right off the bat. I do think it looks really good overall. I just think the pants looked a little bit like MC Hammer-ish in the secret base photos, but again, they could definitely probably be tucked in the boots a little bit more, and you're perfectly fine. So I have no worries about that. The main thing is the armor and the head sculpt, and it seems like they've done a great job on that, so that is all I'm really concerned about. I hope we basically get this exact figure when it comes to the final product. I will be super pleased if this is what we get in hand. In terms of the cape, I'm not positive if it's wired well or not. I can't really tell. Here you can see we have the advertisement for the light up chest armor and the luminous reflective effect on belt. Again, it's those buttons that typically would light up in the show. They do have a luminous effect as opposed to giving them an LED function. And again, I think that's because they wanted to completely eliminate those button cell batteries. And that's perfectly fine with me, because personally, I don't use the lights anyway on most of my figures. Now with the USB power, I think things are going to change for a lot of people. But as of right now, I don't use the button cell battery powered stuff just because it's such a pain and it dies so quick. There's no point. Here's a shot of him on the stand. That's, hey man, if you can get him to balance like that, more power to you. That scares me, because as you know, that's literally just the crotch grabber. But the guys at Hot Toys know what they're doing when it comes to posing. So I don't blame them for kind of taking a chance there. I almost thought it had a flight pole at first when I first saw this photo, and I had to look a little bit closer, but definitely a cool pose. Hey, if you can pull that off in your display, more power to you. That definitely scares me a little bit, though. Here's another shot of him in that pose. He's just kind of floating there doing his thing. It's so funny, though, with a crazy action pose like that, he's got kind of a relaxed face here, so you can't really take him that seriously, huh? Definitely a really cool pose, though. It's just be careful. Be careful, guys. Oh, and here we have another shot of the Grand Inquisitor and Reva. Spoiler alert, guys, if you haven't seen Kenobi, skip past this part. But in the show, you guys remember Reva quite literally backstabbed the Grand Inquisitor, and we're meant to think that he's dead. But of course, we found out towards the end that he is not, when he returns and says, hello. I love that part. That's such a funny meme. I use it all the time. But I love this shot because I want to see more with these characters. As Reva develops as a character, who knows what's going to happen with her. My guess is she's probably going to edge towards the light side, but kind of being maybe a gray Jedi, kind of in the middle. And I hope we see some more encounters between the two, especially because there's some unfinished business there, I feel like. I know Vader kind of solved that problem for the Grand Inquisitor, but I want to see them solve it between the two of them. So we'll see what happens. If we get that Kenobi Season 2 or something else that these two are in, we might get to see that. I know, again, a lot of people aren't a huge fan of Reva, but I feel like what they were inching towards with the character towards the end of the season, I enjoyed more than what we saw towards the beginning. So definitely very curious to see what happens with those guys. Another awesome shot here. And guys, if you're worried about space, or if you're worried about damaging your figures in any way, which isn't a huge concern with this one because that is a cloth undersuit, but just to point out, you can put him in a very basic pose like this and he still looks really, really good. That's kind of what speaks volumes for figures for me, is if you can put them in a simple pose and they still have a lot of presence. This figure has presence for sure. I mean, guys, it's a Grand Inquisitor. What else could we want from the Kenobi show? We got Vader, we got Kenobi, now we're getting the Inquisitors, man. I really hope we get that fifth brother. I'm really, really hoping for that. Who knows if hottoys is going to do it? You know, they don't finish teams. I don't really care about I don't remember the name of the other Inquisitor that was in the show. But I really want the fifth brother because I love how they adapted that look from Star Wars Rebels. I think they did a really good job. And he's another one. There's a lot of memes with him, so I got to have the memes on my shelf. But if I can have Vader with all, if not most of the Inquisitors, that's a really nice shelf in my opinion. That's like a Kenobi dream shelf. There's a shot of him jumping. Nice action pose. All right, guys, and here is everything that the figure comes with. We will go over the literature on the Sideshow page after this just to make sure we didn't miss anything. But let me zoom in here real quick, because the thing that catches your eye right off the bat is this amazing, highly detailed Darth Vader hologram. And he's also in his iconic pose where he's holding his belt. I absolutely love that. I think this is probably one of the better holograms that they have done for the Star Wars line. And it's funny because you get that Grand Inquisitor hologram with the special edition exclusive of that Darth Vader that just got announced recently. And that Grand Inquisitor hologram he comes with is horrible, in my opinion. This one looks way better, so maybe they'll improve that one before it releases. Who knows? Of course, we did mention the light up chest armor. It's USB powered, and you also have that luminous black light effect on the belt. LED powered USB lightsaber, amazing. We love to see it. Hot Toys is being consistent with this lately, and I hope they continue on with this. Collectors have been asking for this for years. Obviously, people have been purchasing the CFL lightsabers on the secondary market. So it's glad to see that figures are officially coming with this, so you don't have to make that purchase and spend that extra money. Some of those will probably be brighter than this one, but hey, this comes with it from the factory for $260, guys. Again, I don't want to celebrate $260 because the prices are still higher than they used to be. But considering where prices started to go and are still going on some figures, $260 for a figure with a head sculpt and a light up USB chest piece and a USB lightsaber is pretty awesome in my opinion. You do also get these lightsaber motion effect pieces. I know a lot of people don't use these, including myself, but it is nice that they continue to include these because it gives you more options for your display. As always, guys, you know I complained about the lack of hands that Hot Toys gives with these figures, and 6 hands ain't going to cut it for me. I want more hands. You know, I'd be willing to pay, let's say $265, and you throw in 4 more hands. That's a good compromise to me. I want more hands. It gives you more option for displays. And even if it's a hand that doesn't really go with everything that comes with the figure, think of it this way. If they give you those hands and give you these different options, you could pull different items from other displays, like a blaster or something, and throw it in his hand. Because we have all these figures, we have all these different pieces that we don't use. So that's my gripe with a lot of these announcements and these releases is we don't get enough hands. So I would have liked to have seen more hands with this guy, but I do understand he is only $260, so you got to cut costs somewhere. And honestly, they did give him enough hands to where it works with what he comes with. I would just like more options personally. The display base is very basic, as always. Basic. Huh, that's a kind of a pun I made up there on the spot, huh? But hey, the display base does not have any sand, and there's no footprint, so that's a huge plus for me. I do want to, again, take a look in the description of this page so I can see some more information about the cape. It's nice here. Let me zoom in one more time. It's nice here that they show you a shot of the saber on the back because you guys know that's like an iconic look for the Inquisitors. So that's really, really cool. I'm assuming that's probably magnetic. I would hope it's not a peg system, but who knows. I do want to mention, as I scroll past it, the expected release date for this guy is October 2023 or March 2024, guys. We are already inching through 2024. That definitely hurts. I hate waiting for these releases, but at the same time, we're getting so many figures. I'm kind of glad it's that far out. My opinion has kind of changed a little bit with all these releases, guys. They're kind of changing the game up on us. But let's scroll down a little bit and let's take a look at the description. I'm very curious about that cape. Again, 6 gloved hands, man. That's not going to do it for me. I need more Hot Toys. Come on, if you're ever listening to this, which I doubt it, but if you are, give us more hands. I'll pay an extra $5 if you throw in some more hands. At least 4, though. For that $5, I want at least 4. But I want to see about this cape. Do they mention everything? Okay, so black-colored Imperial Officer cape with a burgundy, or burgundy, as Nate from Geeking Out would say, inner linings and black patterns. No mention of wiring there. I really hope that changes before this figure is released because, guys, like, at this point, a wired cape should be standard. It should be absolutely standard. Hot Toys has been doing figures with capes for many years. Like, it should be standard because a cape changes so much for an action pose. You would be surprised how much it changes. If the Inquisitor is dashing forward and he's being aggressive while he's fighting, the cape's just not going to sit there and dangle where it always would. It's going to be flowing through the wind as he's dashing forward. So I hope that changes. I hope that it is a thing and it was just not mentioned here. Who knows? But I really do hope that that's the case because a wired cape is a necessity in my opinion. But it looks like we've gone over everything. I just wanted to double check that. I was curious about the boots. It doesn't mention if they're pleather or not. They look pleather in the photos, but I'm not positive if those are pleather or plastic. I would assume they're probably pleather because it seems like they're not completely getting away from pleather yet, but I'm not positive on that. But that's it for the Grand Inquisitor and Reva, guys. Obviously, we're going to talk more about Reva when she's actually announced, but I just wanted to bring her up because I thought that was amazing that we got a tease of her along with the Grand Inquisitor. But guys, this figure is going to be a cop for me because I do have plans for a display already. Like I said, I pre-ordered a second Vader, hoping that this would release along with that Reva as well. So my display is made now. I know what I want to do. So I'm glad that we got the Grand Inquisitor and we have Reva on the way, probably sooner than later. So this is definitely a cop for me. I know for a lot of people who weren't fans of the show, they'll probably just stick with Kenobi and Vader because if you're a fan of the prequels, you can kind of squeeze those in. But I will say, I think this figure is going to do really well because we have a lot of Star Wars Rebels fans, including myself. And even if you weren't a big fan of the Kenobi show, I could see people picking this up because it is an Inquisitor, and we've been waiting for Inquisitor figures ever since the Star Wars Rebels show first came out. So I could see a lot of people picking this up just to have an Inquisitor in their display, and I don't blame them. I think it looks amazing, and this guy can go with a lot of different displays, especially the prequel trilogy era stuff. I think it would look amazing. But let me know what you guys think down below. Is this a cop or is this a flop? Is this a figure that you need? Or can you pass on this one and save that money and use it elsewhere because of the absolute onslaught of releases that we have coming at us lately from Hot Toys? But that's all I got for you guys. As always, drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel if you appreciate what we do here. I really, really appreciate the support as always. I know I say this a lot, but I can't say it enough because I am very, very grateful that you guys are so supportive of me on all of my videos and all of the crew on the live streams. We really do appreciate it. I do have another video coming out this week and another unboxing. I'm just waiting for my figure to arrive because there were some damages to it that I noticed while I was filming the video. So once that arrives, I will film the end of that video and I will put that video out for you guys to enjoy, and I hope you all like it. And of course, we will see you Thursday on Hot Toys Hotline Live, typically at 7:30 p.m. EST. We look forward to seeing you guys out there. Some information about some Star Wars Hot Toys came out this morning, so we got a lot to talk about and a lot to speculate on. But have a good night, guys, and take care.